Jaime from Inky&Scrappy, sharing with you today another Christmas in July card featuring Lawn Fawn Sledding by Stamp Set and Magic Iris Snow Globe add-on. I am taking that Snow Globe add-on and kind of cutting just the base part out. So I used the accent pieces for the base, and I've already cut them from this piece of gold, heavyweight gold cardstock. And then I'm going to take a Tim Holtz embossing folder and emboss that larger part, and then I will kind of pick where I want that base piece to lie. I want to have the swirlies in there. I don't know if I get it exactly where I want it in the long run, just because my piece of paper I was trying to use the scrap instead of grabbing a new sheet, and so lining up to kind of get it where I wanted it to be. And then I'm going to run that through the die cut machine one more time. And then because when you run it through on that solid plate, it's going to squish that 3D emboss down. And I wanted it definitely to have that extra raised 3D look to it. So I'm going to line up my pattern in my 3D embossing folder. I did tape it down just a little bit. And then I'm going to run it through one more time to get that full 3D effect back on the base piece. And then I'm just going to trim off on the top part there. It's not perfect. I couldn't see it with the camera in my way. And I wanted, I knew that I was within my line there. So it's not perfect on the top, but that accent piece is going to cover that up anyways. Now for this one, I'm not actually making a Magic Iris card. I want to do a shaker. Or a snow globe per se, a shaker snow globe. So I'm bringing in my circle stacks from Spellbinders here, and I think it was like a 3 1/4 inch circle that worked perfectly on the inside of the snow globe to give me that full, it kind of looks like it has that stitched circle frame. I think you can use, I'm not positive, I'll have to look. I think you can use the stitched circle frames from Lawn Fawn and make it work. I don't know if it works exactly with it, or if you just cut off the base and use those stitched circles. Is another way to go about that one if you don't have the proper circle to do your cut for the inside. It's an option. I also cut one, I picked the next size up that was going to fit in or behind the snow globe, but didn't go out of the edges, or was, so it was a little bit bigger than my actual cutout there, and I cut that out of some acetate as well as another circle. Now I end up cutting this out a second time out of both. I lost my circle. I still have yet to find said circle. I can see it there in the picture. I could not find it when it came time to add it to my frame here. Yeah, we have days like this. So I kind of went out of order here. So I'm putting my adhesive on the back to put in my acetate. But I realize as soon as I have this all done and I'm almost ready to adhere the acetate that I need to ink up the outside first. So I am going to just trim off all of those little overhang pieces. It was just easier than trying to get it all to fit inside that circle. Square peg, round hole. It was just easier to trim off the extras. So I do want to ink both my snow globe and my background in the same ink. I want it to match. So it kind of looks like the snow globe is, seamless, I guess, or round. I don't know how else to make it look like it's a glass globe, but make my inside match my outside. I don't know. And so this was where I started, and I was like planning on doing multiple layers behind, and then I actually do ink the outside of the snow globe, and I brought back in that circle piece because I wanted to go darker in the center. And then I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, if I'm going to do a snow globe, I really want my shaker bits to go and be seamless. So I cut out another circle, and then I pulled out some stamps. So I'm using this super old stamp art template I got from my nanny's stash. She was getting rid of a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, oh, well, this one looks kind of cool. It had trees on it and mountains and the other stuff, but I'm just going to use that one for the trees. I'm bringing in a Lawn Fawn hillside border stencil for my border, and then I was looking for mountains. I don't actually own the mountain stencil, so I'm taking some Avery L removable adhesive and running it through my die cut machine using the mountain stitch border. You could either do that one, or if you have, I think it's the Mountainside stamp set, if you have the dies for that one, it would have the same mountain die but without the stitching, so you don't have to worry about that stitch bleed through. I wasn't too worried about it, so I'm also using the negative to that piece so I can ink my mountains up and not get the blue from the sky to bleed down or get a darker look, vice versa sort of thing. Now I'm going to bring in that older stencil here, and I'm just going to ink up my trees. I'm not too worried about, I don't know, going over the mountains because I went with a super light gray ink for my mountains, and so that green covers up beautifully. It's the beauty of Distress Offsets. So I'm done with my background piece. Now I need to color in my little critter. I am using the fox again in that Sledding by stamp set. He's probably my favorite. I think it's because it's only one animal image, so he's super fast to color in. And when you're looking at Christmas cards and those things, we have some really big families on my side and my husband's side, and so I usually only do a select few because my husband's father is one of 17. I do not do all of those aunts and uncles. My mother is one of 12. So it's just a large relation. So I usually send to whoever sends me one, and then I have the ones that we hang out with the most, or close family or close friends that we usually send out to every year. So now I can remove that adhesive, add my acetate in there, and then I'm going to bring in my strips here that I have from Crescent Creation Shop. So they're a thicker or a wider strip, so kind of similar to the width or you don't need to double them up. I want to say is it Hefty Doodle that has the like super thick stuff for shakers. This is the same thickness as that Hefty Doodle stuff. If you check out Crescent Creations, they still have their sale. I think they're closing. I think that's what she told me. So they have everything is still, I think it's 30% off. So go check it out if you are in need of those types of things. I'm bringing in some little circles here. These were actually a purchase from Amazon. It's just a circle bead without the hole. So I don't remember what they're called besides a beadless circle. I probably picked them up a couple of years ago, but it's just a nice variety. And they're not as small as seed beads, but they're not, I don't know, they don't have the hole in them. They're just pretty. I like to use them. I like that shaker sound to my shaker, and they definitely give it that, a little bit of noise. I also used some glitter from Hero Arts to add some sparkle and shine, stars and snowflake style look to it. Now, I didn't want to add my fox on the front all by himself, like floating in air. I guess I could have. It probably would have been fine. And so I decided to bring in that hill die and another piece of cardstock. So I did cut a little corner out of some, I want to say it's some metallic cardstock that I picked up from envelopes.com. I don't remember if it's the Gin Fizz or the Champaign one, but it's white. It's got a little bit of sparkle to it. It's about 105 pounds, so it's a fairly heavyweight cardstock. and I probably have enough for most of my lifetime. So I'll use it frequently. I'm just trying to figure out how I want that hill to go. I decided I wasn't going to probably get it to line up perfectly with my hill in the background. And I thought, you know, it's fine because you're going to have a background hill. It adds a little bit more depth and dimension. I also cut out a part of, or a hillside for my background panel. So my background panel here is from Doodlebug Designs Winter Wonderland paper pack. And then, of course, using that large stitched squirrel, oh my, stitched rectangle stack from Fawn. So it is an A2 size full front panel. And then, of course, I probably already told you I used the stitched hillside border die to cut out my snow. And then I'm going to adhere this onto the front of my card base. So adding some glue, all of the things. Now I did go around on the inside with my anti-static powder tool. It didn't work. I have the glitter is stuck to the top, which is fine. I guess it's just snow waiting to fall. Sometimes you just can't win. It is what it is. Yeah, I was kind of frustrated that even though I did remember to go with the, because I oftentimes don't do the anti-static powder tool, because I usually don't worry about it sticking, but I was trying to behave myself and it didn't work anyways. So once I have the snow globe base put on there, or the shaker element, I'm going to finish the rest of my card. So I'm going to add in that hill to the front of my snow globe here. And then figure out placement for my little fox. And I did use Ohuhus for the coloring on my fox today. Did I use warm grays or yellow? I think I used warm grays for him, actually. I don't remember. I know we watched it. And the purples were from, I might have used yellow grays. I did use my original. So with my Fab 5 hop, I did a new color palette. So that will be on my blog if you're interested in the color palette. That will include where that purple color blend is. So I'm going to add some double-sided adhesive score tape to the bottom there because it is that multi-layered 3D. I wanted to make sure it was going to stick good. And then, of course, using some glue and my tweezers to place my added pieces here, and then holding them down with an acrylic block. I could have held it with my fingers. I'm just not that patient. So I usually just pull in an acrylic block and then I let it sit on top of there to just hold it until that glue dries. The glue really dries fairly quickly, so it's not like it takes that long. But this way I can set it off to the side and go on to the next thing without having to, you know, sit there and hold it. So I cut out a strip using a simple, I think that's the Simple Sentiments from Fawn. And then, of course, I have my pre-made, I guess, template that I have onto a sticky mat in my Misty. So the sticky mat is just a cheap Cricut, like stick mat that you get off of Amazon, and I cut them down to size to fit inside my Misty. And then that one actually is only for my sentiments. So anything that fits inside of those, it just makes it easier for lining up. I don't have to fuss with it a whole lot. Most of the time the sentiment kind of lines itself up in that little slot, and then you can pop the die cut in there and stamp, and it works well. It's really great for doing multiples. So I'm just checking to make sure everything looks good and deciding if I wanted to add anything onto my card. I decided to pull in some snowflake clay bits and just sprinkle those around liberally. No rhyme, no reason. I just, you know, I kind of tend to work in threes and or in triangles and go from there. I wasn't too big on where my placement was on these. It's snow. It's supposed to be random, right? And I'll just continue to add until I am satisfied with if I have enough, don't have enough. And of course I didn't take out enough, so I did end up coming back in and pouring some more out. I also made sure I put a few on top of that acetate so it looks like there is snow inside of the shaker, even if my little shaker bits are on the bottom. And there is that beautiful shaker sound. I swear I love shakers. I like silence, but something about the little of the shaker just makes me happy. I am glad that I switched to a one layer background for that background piece. I don't have to worry about my shaker bits getting caught on all of the layers. So there is my finished card. I hope you enjoyed. Any questions, drop them below. Like, share, comment, subscribe, all of the things. I thank you so much for joining me and have an amazing rest of your day. Keep getting inky. Bye!